They might be stunning on the outside, but on the inside, the world's leading racing machines are frequently sparse, hollowed-out technical shells. With nothing but black carbon and control systems on view, there are caves that feel more homely. But while Magic Carpet E was designed to compete at the very top against the world's best, she does not conform to this style below decks. Far from it. Behind this stunning interior lies some of the most advanced technology aboard any modern race boat. From lifting, canting and rotating appendages to a fully electric operation for the propulsion and deck gear, this is a machine that has been designed to lead the Maxi world. And then go on a family cruise, in comfort. And this is what all of that looks like below decks. There aren't many interiors that start with a weight budget, but given the main goal of creating a 32-metre Maxi that was 10 tonnes lighter than the previous Magic Carpet, the designers were faced with the challenge from the off.
2,000 kilos. That's the interior. So to give Guillaume a number of 2,000 kg to work on that we'd build an interior for.
That was our dream, to prove that you could do a good racing boat, but that would look beautiful. If you know that that is cork, not teak, maybe there's a purist who's going to complain, but I'm not one of them. I think it looks beautiful, it's comfortable for your feet, and it's very light. And actually it doesn't have the stripes in naturally, but you can put them there so it looks like planks of teak. You can, if you want to do something that is beautiful, but you've got to find somebody who shares that aesthetic or desire, and we found a really great guy called Axel de Beaufort. On his in his spare time he works for Hermes, so I think that's a guarantee of the quality side of things. But he had an eye for how you could make a boat look beautiful but not weigh a lot more.
Axel de Beaufort worked quite tirelessly on that, and Persco were able to bring their skills into building the composite parts, and then they've found subcontractors and suppliers, artisans in Italy that do these beautiful fine veneer works, and you can do it.
It sounds like from the discussions I've had already that technically that was a big challenge.
Yeah.
To get it down to weight, but then I guess that was essential for the overall concept of the boat in the first place.
Yeah. I don't think I'm knocking Persco saying this. It was a big challenge for Persco because they are a superb, they're a great place to go to build a boat, but their key is composite things. They've done some interiors before, but I think we were a challenge.
We don't like the word compromise. So, we got set a challenging target, but this is part of the Magic Carpet story. It's like we got set a tight budget on the weight, and we had to achieve this level of interior. So that was where we had to incorporate modern materials, the use of Nomex carbon fibre, to use lightweight fabrics. So I think that we've achieved the way of creating a race boat that hasn't been compromised by the fact that it's got an interior.
And yet quite a lot of it comes out, doesn't it, when you go into race boat? I think these are fantastic. I love these lockers. These come out of the boat, do they?
Yeah, exactly. So we looked at elements where we could remove them. So we looked at detailed items like these wardrobes where we brought in specialists. Even though they're removed, they're still a carbon fibre box. So this can all come out. It still looks stylish. It's not clumsy. It's fitting with the end product.
Part of the concept of the design came from a conversation between Axel and Guillaume, because they didn't want to put square doors in anywhere. They came up with these oval-shaped openings in the bulkheads, which were structurally much more sound. And then Axel kind of came up with this sort of spaceship roundy retro look that he's put into, change to great effect. I think it's come out really nice.
By making the cutouts a part of the design, but incorporating the fact that it's an ovular shape, which is structurally much better, between Guillaume, Axel and Pure, we came up with these hole openings that were actually very minimal. When you cut the hole in the finished bulkhead, they minimise the taping and capping on all of it. So not only does it look good, but it actually saves weight and is functional.
There's something special about these headliners as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. So, headliners cover a huge surface area on the boat. So it was one of the areas we really targeted to save weight. So basically, we had to come up with a design which basically utilised the lightest possible materials. So we had to have some form of structure, so we use basically a simple frame concept, which is with a carbon Nomex. So it's just basically two skins with a Nomex core. We then use a nice leather detailing around the edge, which gives it a sign of quality. And then we have a special fabric, which we're using here, which basically is stretch resistant. So it's pre-tensioned on the board. It's a really tight finish, which stays, and it's going to be long lasting. Yet one thing Axel really likes is the fact that you get the sense of what's behind it. The interior has been very much about pushing the boundaries, take the interior to the hull. There's nothing between this. Right. There's literally a few millimetres between this and the side of the boat. And then, as you see with all the shaping of the interior, it is we're at the hull skin here. So then we've been able to generate a space which is voluminous. In fact, more voluminous than the previous boat in terms of its feel on board, which has surprised all of us, to be quite honest.
I think the original idea, we were going to just veneer the interior, but it's really, at some point you've got to get a hydraulic hose forward or a wire up or a switch somewhere, and then you can't get behind it. So then we had to sort of do these super lightweight panels that emulated the shape of the outside. And it was actually a good way to build boats, because then you have access to stuff otherwise.
Ed, it's interesting that the hatch, we've got this huge hatch here, clearly a sail handling hatch. It feels like it's actually quite a long way back in the boat. I mean, it's off from the owner's cabin.
Yeah, sure. So this hatch is exactly it. It's a sail hatch, right? So it's been designed, it's offset from the centre. We have the option to run a spinnaker drop system from here, directly through the boat to the back of the boat, single patch drop. The other thing, we will primarily be storing the sails down below. Guillaume was very hot on vertical centre of gravity and how important it was for performance. So he wanted us to store the sails below, not traditionally, which is on deck, which as we would have done with the previous Magic Carpet, the Wallicento. So that was a big deal. So he was very keen on us giving us good access to the inside of the boat for sailing.
Now, we can't mention the interior and not mention the centrepiece. That is quite something. That's quite some navigation station.
Yeah, so with Axel before, he wanted to create a centrepiece for when you enter the boat, and boy, did he do an amazing job. But that seat is functional, so the seat can be actually flipped to allow for the heel angle of the boat.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, so that was a clever design that came from the guys in the Hermes Horizon workshop. So what we're sitting in is Sir Lindsay's race cabin, which he will use on a day-to-day basis while racing, and then it forms as another guest cabin for when he goes cruising. This galley has been developed to be a functional one, which we can prepare dinners for all of these people that come on board, and it also works for the crew too.
So, I mean, weight was obviously a big issue here as well.
Yeah, it was, and it was a big part of it. So even these cupboards you see here, these are all fully removable. So all inside here will be stored the cruising equipment, right. And they get brought on and off the boat, and everything remains tidy, neat, and just gets put into a storage location. And then for the regattas, we're left here with just a simple worktop, fridge, and freezer. And we're able to use that for the offshore race, to cook for 21 crew and keep them happy too.
Having established where the meals would come from, it was time to talk technical. And we started with their secret weapon.
Canard is just in front of the keel, so inside here we have the Canard system. The Caraboni, everything they produce is so beautiful, so we've tried to incorporate some of that mechanical beauty and make it part of the interior. So what you see here is the Canard up-down, and we've decided to make it a feature. So what you see here is you have a main central ram which actually swings the keel inside its titanium cassette. The titanium cassette is actually where the canting keel cylinders attach. So the canting keel rams push the cassette with the swung cylinder or swung fin inside. So we can go from a 4.6 metre draft for going in harbour and down to our 7.1 metre draft when we're out sailing.
And at the moment we're up, aren't we?
We're up now. We're in harbour. Exactly.
So does that change? So this ram, this whole ram here, when you put the keel down, that swings forward, does it?
Yeah. So basically, the head of the fin swings forwards, and then the lower part of the fin swings aft. And then the clever bit is the bulb doesn't stay in the same position. The bulb stays horizontal. So basically, the keel moves in a format like this, and the bulb basically moves like that. And we have the two primary or the two canting cylinders this side, which, as I say, move the keel port to starboard, and then obviously the fin with it. So we have the two central bearings, which are fore and aft, which are part of that. So what you see here is the two electric motors which drive the hydraulic system. They are both from a company called E-Helix in the UK, which make a lot of electric motors for motorsport. They're involved in Formula One, Formula E. So we went to them and discussed what options they had, and what you see here is two which power the pump train that provides Magic Carpet with all its hydraulic power.
What kind of, I mean, is there a way of sort of contextualising the kind of power output that they produce?
So the equivalent would be basically having two Golf GTIs in your engine room, basically.
Good grief. That's one hell of a lot of power.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge was it to create these, or was this just I say just with respect, but was it an off-the-shelf item, or did it have to be adapted for this kind of environment, or?
So basically, Helix didn't have a product on their shelf that matched our requirements, but what they did have was the technology. So we just had to package the technology to match our requirements. So we worked with them on that. We gave them our power specifications, and they came up with a package that would fit our requirements. What you see here is the inverters. This turns the DC current into AC current to power the electric motors. And then what you see here in the middle is one of the clever bits of kit which came with this boat as well, which was something we stumbled across during the process, which is actually a DC to DC converter. So instead of having your Fisher Panda generator that you would on most 100-foot cruising boats to give you your hotel systems, this is able to convert the power stored in the battery and give us the ability to run the air conditioning all night and power water makers, the cooking system, whatever you may need.
I feel like I've stepped into sort of the undercarriage bay on an Airbus A380 or something, and it's just extraordinary in here. I mean, talk us through what we're looking at.
So with Caraboni, we developed this concept here, which is basically our main distribution. Everything inside this boat, hydraulically, comes through this area of the boat.
What are we looking at here with these big carbon tanks, Ed?
Yeah, so these are actually the reservoirs which store all the hydraulic oil. With these boats, often they're confused with being only offshore machines. But our criteria is very clear. We had to make a boat which could be thrown around an inshore racecourse, maximising our time everywhere. So that means maximising our manoeuvre time. Every single manoeuvre has to be looked at in a way where we can optimise its performance to win on not both line honours but also corrected. We're always racing against the clock, Matt. So this is the electric propulsion, which we worked with Helix and Shipmotion. So with those guys, we did a lot of development work related to getting the prop design correct to match the power demands. Because once we've done the sailing system, we also had to consider this thing needs to move around. So what we did was, with the Verdier team, we received the whole CFD, which they did anyway for the performance side of the boat. We took that whole CFD and we actually gave it to Shipmotion, and they ran a wavefield analysis and gave us real power numbers. With those power numbers, they were then shared with Helix, and we developed the size required for the electric motor. So the extra work and detailing we did in the early phase actually resulted in us hitting our propulsion targets immediately. So we were able to hit our 10 knot cruising speed, and also the boat can achieve 12.1 knots at full power.
Right, that's impressive. And I mean, essentially then, are we looking at, yes, another Golf GTI sitting in the middle of
Yeah, slightly more, actually.
Oh, it could be the RS one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a real jazzed up Golf GTI.
Right.
We looked at different options that were currently on the market, and none of them hit our weight criteria. So what we did instead was we decided to develop our own concept. Basically what you see here is a Ox diesel engine. We then literally bolted an electric motor like you see here onto that engine, and then that gave us the ability to be able to deliver the boat from different regattas all over the Mediterranean, but also gave us two other fields. One, an ability to quietly charge the boat when Sir Lindsay is on his holidays with his family, when we've just gone all night powering the air conditioning system with the comfort mode, which basically you don't hear. What you see here is an insulated box. But also it gives us the ability to be able to charge the battery after a day's sailing, if required, if we haven't got the shore power needed on the dock for our shore charger, to charge the battery in 35 minutes.
Cool. Okay.
So, and this gives us a 48-hour range, which will give us 480 miles at 10 knots.
Wow.
The battery sits below our feet right now, so it's in the centre of the saloon, under the floorboards, and actually sits below the waterline. So again, this goes back again to what I keep talking about with this drive that we had from Guillaume to have this lower VCG. So he loved the fact when we suddenly presented him with this battery that had been designed by Williams, that we could place it in a location that he really wanted. So the weight of the battery, the impact of that weight was reduced significantly when you consider its location. The common theme which occurs with lithium-ion batteries is called thermal runaway. So overheating, exactly, yeah. Where the cell temperature rises to a level that is regarded as unsafe. So in that manner, what we have on board is a safety system where we can flood the area of the pack. So we actually flooded a segment of the boat, and we were able to circulate that water and bring the cell temperature down to what is considered a safe level. And once we've done that, the battery becomes fully operational again.
So we're in the galley, but you've got two screens here. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so Matt, this is the main control station for the whole boat. So we have two control systems. So we've got this control system here, which is C-Zone, which is basically the hotel systems on board, your lights, your pumps, your all of the basic things we use on a day-to-day basis. So this is an important part, which is the guys, the permanent crew use a lot, and it's a very functional display, easy to use. And then what you see here is above is the control system for all the clever parts of Magic Carpet, all the really important elements, the Keel system, the Canard system, the battery, the winches, and from here we can log data, we can read loads. Every element has got sensors, position sensors, load sensors, and also we can control and adjust things, speeds, the opening and closing positions, and so all of that is controlled from this main central unit, which was developed with Caraboni and Faro Advanced Systems, who were a big part of developing this boat. They monitor the battery system, it gives us the alarms if there's any issues with any of the electric motors. It enables us while we're racing to log all of the inputs.
But given the impressive list of technical aspects aboard Magic Carpet E, there was one question in particular that I was keen to ask. Do you see this boat as being something that you hope, talking of your hopes, that will inspire the industry or perhaps other owners to have a go at, maybe not race boats, but to utilise some of the technology that you've developed?
I'll be egoistic first and say egotistical and say, look, if it would inspire a few competitors and others to build new boats, I'd be thrilled, because that class needs animation, and I think we did a lot to inspire the previous generation, because Magic Carpet then inspired Galatea, which is a sister ship, Tango, and so on and so forth. So we've already played a role in creating 100-foot racing boats. And so if we could convince another half dozen owners to do, and that would be fantastic for the racing, for the spectacle, for the class. That would be a big satisfaction. I think if the fact that we proved that it's possible for the electric side, that other people got interested, I think we'd be pleased about that too, because, and if the boat goes okay, then I think there will be some people saying, hey, okay, it can be done, what does it cost? And should we do it? So I'd be pleased if that created, but its beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Well,
so
true.
I'm not preaching.
I'm sure there is no question that Magic Carpet E is an impressive project. When you're talking about her systems, there's currently no other yacht in the maxi scene that comes close. Going out for the day and not hearing an engine at any point is a surreal experience. But apart from pushing the boundaries in the maxi world, I can't help thinking that some of the technology that's been developed on this boat will find itself into other areas of the sport, and not just racing either. And when it comes to that racing, the big question is how she performs when she's up against a highly refined and competitive fleet. For that, we're going to have to wait. But I have a feeling that she's going to turn heads.